You are listening to Fresh Bread, Dr. Harry Reeder's daily devotional from the Alliance of Confessing Evangelicals.
We just finished a very challenging parable about stewardship, the dishonest manager. What we learned is he was consistent with what he said was important. So we, in the things of this world, are consistent with what we think is important. And it's not this world, it's the mission of the kingdom. It's the message of the kingdom. And it is the kingdom yet to come. All of that which the world would use unrighteously, we take it and we use it for that which would honor Christ, because our life is not about ourselves, our life is about the Lord. Well, now, Jesus isn't through with his disciples. Here's something else he says in Luke chapter 16 and verse 10. One who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much. And one who is dishonest in a very little is also dishonest in much. If then you have been faithful in the unrighteous wealth, who will entrust you the true riches? And if you have not been faithful in that which is another's, who will give you that which is your own? No servant can serve two masters. Either you'll hate the one and love the other, or you'll be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. He says this, he says, one who is faithful in, notice the language, very little, is the one who will be faithful in much. And if you're unfaithful in little, you'll be unfaithful in much. Would you like to know how many times as a pastor I have heard, Pastor, I'm sorry, I can't tithe, I can't give, I can't afford to. And my answer to them, I said, I know you're not going to like this, and I know you're probably going to be upset with me, but I don't believe you robbed Peter to pay Paul, and I don't think you robbed God, because the tithe is the Lord's. God says if you don't bring the tithe, what you've done is you've robbed me. The bringing of the tithe in the context of worship, that's giving according to what God has given to you, and then offerings is what you actually do give. The tithe, it's an act of faithfulness, because you've brought what belongs to God faithfully. But the offerings, when you bring that, what you've done is you've brought something sacrificially to the Lord. But how many times as a pastor I have heard, Pastor, when I make a little bit more money, I'm going to start tithing. And I always tell them this, well, I hope so, but I don't think so. Why? Well, here's what I found out. If you're not faithful in little, you won't be faithful in much. When you get more, you won't all of a sudden become faithful. The fact is, when you get more, you'll have more reasons not to be faithful. And so what I encourage you to do is start right where you are. Start with your tithe and be faithful, and then begin to add alms offerings or faith promise offerings, love offerings, all of those kind of offerings you can add as you move along. But just start at least with the tithe. Don't rob God. I tell the story of when my wife, who had tithed her whole life, I became a Christian, and I've got this Celtic background, so I'm a little frugal and cheap. So the offering would come, I'd put $10 in. My wife said, we're making $350, honey. Well, yay, honey, $10. It's the spirit of the thing. She said, well, honey, we ought to be giving $35. Well, long story short, all of a sudden my 3 part-time jobs while I was going through school, 2 of them disappeared, and the next thing I know, I'm $100 a week. And that's God telling me, you want to call $10 a tithe, Harry? I'll make it one. It got all the way down to $75. We began to tithe and give a faith promise offering. And that was the beginning of financial freedom. As I tell people so many times, this isn't a prosperity gospel, it's just a fact. Given it shall be given unto you. In other words, if God knows what he gets to you will get through you, then he'll entrust to you that which he wants to get through you. And God's been very gracious, and we love to give now, and it's just a joy to do so. But don't wait to get more. You'll just have more reasons not to be faithful. Start right where you are. He who is faithful in little will be faithful in much. And that's another slice of fresh bread.
Drug addiction, pornography, broken homes, sexual promiscuity are all challenges in raising a family. Dr. Reeder's excellent series, 7 Essentials for the Christian Family, is our gift to you when you call 1-800-488-1888.